It takes up and running. So we will call our meeting to order. No, she's not. This is a regular meeting. It's on there, right? The tape's been on.
Sorry about that.
This is a regular meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Seaside Park, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, held on Thursday, May 16th, 2024, advertised to begin at the conclusion of the work session, which has now just ended. Pursuant to the provisions of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting was properly provided by transmitting the notice of meeting for publication in the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger on January 5th, 2024. Notice of the meeting of the governing body also has been posted in the corridor of the municipal building and in the office of the municipal clerk. Roll call.
Councilmember Anfield?
Present.
Councilmember Condos?
Here.
Councilmember Connor?
Here.
Councilmember Kraft?
Here.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Here.
Council President Wilk?
Here.
Mayor Pearson?
Here.
Thank you.
Let us all rise together for a moment of silence to be followed by our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda seeks approval of the minutes for May 2nd, 2024, a work session, and May 2nd, 2024, a regular meeting. Any questions or comments or a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft.
And I'll second it.
And a second by Council President Wilk. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next are authorizations. I'll read them in summary fashion. The first event, the Seaside Park PTA Blue Water Week, date May 28th and June 2nd, time 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. and then 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Location, 5th Avenue Beach, 3rd Avenue, Bayview D Street Boardwalk, and that approval, if granted by the governing body, would have to be conditioned upon the applicant obtaining a county permit. The next event is This Is Yoga NJ, dates May 25th up until September 1, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Time 6:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Monday. Location M Street Beach, and the notation indicates we would need an updated certificate of insurance to be provided with the expiration of the current one referenced. And third is the Sergeant John Lyons 5K run, date of June 8th, time 9 a.m., location Bayview Avenue from 14th Avenue to North Avenue, and that approval also would be conditioned upon the applicant obtaining a county permit. Any further questions or comments from council?
Mayor, I'm confused about the time of the Seaside Park PTA. 5 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock at night and 12 noon to 1 p.m.?
Yeah, one of them they do at night where the kids do the seining and they make their hats and things, and then the next day they
Oh, it's the
have
next
actual
day.
parade. Yeah, the 28th and then the
And
2nd.
then the 6th? Oh, okay, I
Yeah,
got
no, June 2nd.
it. I got it. Thank you for clarifying.
You know,
Any other questions, comments from council, or if not, a motion?
motion to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Condos,
I'll second it.
second by Councilmember Amabile. Roll call.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next are payments of claims, 224-172. It's approval of payment of itemized claims as set forth in the check registry bill list for the period of time May 3rd to May 16th, 2024. Any questions or comments from council, or if not, a motion?
I'll make the motion, Mayor. I'll
Motion by
second.
Councilmember Kraft, second by Councilmember Connor. Roll call?
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
And next are a series of actions with respect to the adoption of the 2024 municipal budget. And these actions were carried from the May 2nd, 2024 meeting due to the fact that the state of New Jersey had not, at that juncture, reviewed the budget and given the authorization to move forward. And with that in mind, I'll follow our list and turn it over to our clerk, because we have some, because of that action of the state and not acting appropriately, we have to unfortunately read at least one of the more lengthy items. That's as per our bond council's recommendation. So,
My time to shine.
and this is 224-159?
Yep.
That is an amendment to the 2024 municipal budget, and that came about as a result of a recommendation from the state in terms of our, is it the stormwater management? It's,
The water quality report, matching the capital plan to exactly what's on the water quality report. And I believe there were some items that just had to be broken out that we had as service. So they're,
very good. So I will turn it over to Jenna to read that in its entirety as per the bond council's recommendation. Jenna?
whereas the local municipal budget for the year 2024 was approved on April 4th, 2024, and whereas the public hearing on said budget has been held as advertised, and whereas it is desired to amend said approved budget, now therefore be it resolved by the Borough of Seaside Park, County of Ocean, the following amendments to the approved budget of 2024 be made. In the current fund budget, miscellaneous revenues, Section A, local revenues. From the anticipated utility operating surplus, where there was 0, there will be 150,000. From total Section A, local revenue, that will be from 3,013,000 to 3,163,000. In Section 3, miscellaneous revenues, Section B, state aid without offsetting appropriations, consolidated municipal property tax relief aid will go from $10,773.11 to $0. The reserve for municipal relief aid will go from $0 to $10,773.11. Total Section B, state aid without offsetting appropriations will go from $219,753.11 to $219,753.11. 3, miscellaneous revenues, Section F, special items of general revenue, public and private revenue offsets with appropriations. And the Municipal Alliance on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse will go from $13,336 to $6,668. Total Section F, special items of revenue, public and private revenues offset with appropriations will go from $394,684.81 to $388,016.81. Section G, special items of general revenue anticipated with prior written consent of Director of Local Government Services, other special items will go from $150,000 to 0. Total Section G, special items of general revenue, other special items will go from $150,000 to 0. 5, subtotal general revenues items 3 will go from $5,502,437.92 to $5,495,769.92. Amount to be raised by taxes in support of municipal budget. A, local tax for municipal purposes, including reserve for uncollected taxes, will go from $7,418,963.40 to $7,421,019.96. Don't worry, there's 2 more pages. Total general revenues will go from $12,921,401.32 to $12,916,789.88. From 8 general appropriations, operations excluded from caps. From insurance general liability, it'll go from $262,895 to $272,096. Insurance workers' compensation will go from $457,000 and $457,36 to $473,032. Total operations item 8A within caps will go from $9,170,251 to $9,195,448. Total operations including contingent within caps, $9,170,251 to $9,195,448. Detail salaries and wages will go from $5,258,410 to $5,258,410. Other expenses, including contingent, $3,911,841 to $3,937,038. Deferred charges and statutory expenditures, municipal within caps. Number 1, deferred charges, over expenditure of an appropriation will go from 0 to $67,375.51. Total deferred charges and statutory expenditures, municipal within caps, will go from $1,091,826.08 to $1,159,201.59. H1, total general appropriations from municipal purposes within caps, $10,262,077.08 to $10,354,649.59. A, operations excluded from caps. Workers' compensation will go from $157,581 to $141,585. General liability will go from $41,803 to $32,602. Total other operations excluded from caps, $214,834 to $189,187. E, deferred charges, over expenditure of appropriation will go from $67,375.51 to 0. H2, total general appropriations for municipal purposes excluded from caps, $2,115,544.37 to $2,018,303.86. 0, total general appropriations excluded from caps, $2,115,544.37 to $2,018,303.86. L, subtotal general appropriations items H1 and O, $12,377,621.45 to $12,372,953.45. 9, total general appropriations, $12,921,401.32 to $12,916,789.88. Dedicated water sewer utility budget, revenues, revenues $2,350,000 to $2,400,000, rents from 0 to $25,000. Total water sewer utility revenues $3,200,000 to $3,275,000. Under appropriations, operating other expenses $559,684.95 to $488,516.15. In debt service, payment on bond principal $723,252 to $160,000. Payment on bond anticipation notes and capital notes goes from 0 to $15,570. Payment on bond anticipation notes and capital notes goes from interest on bonds goes from $188,452 to $18,587. Interest on notes goes from $113,122.37 to $113,625. NJEIT loan principal goes from 0 to $628,420.82. NJEIT loan interest goes from 0 to $133,318. USDA level debt payment goes from 0 to $101,474.35. Total water sewer utility appropriations goes from $3,200,000 to $3,275,000. Be it further resolved that 2 copies of this resolution be filed forthwith to the Office of the Director of Local Government Services for certification of the local municipal budget as amended.
Thank you.
Clap.
Thank you very much.
That's a lot.
And with that being said, any questions, comments from council on the required reading and as naturally to the proposed amendment to the 2024 budget?
I have a few comments. Since so many numbers were thrown out, the local tax to be raised, the increase was $2,000, $2,056.56. The total revenue, total general revenue and total general appropriations went down by $4,611.44. That's the sum of it all. Yeah.
Happy to have it done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything else from council on this? If not, I would entertain a motion for the amendment to the 2024 municipal budget as just read into the record
I'll
and
make the
summarized.
motion there.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft,
Second?
second by Councilmember Condos. Roll call?
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
And 224-173 next is a resolution to amend the capital plan. And that, again, was alluded to moments ago and made necessary by the review process initiated by the state, which was not as early as we were hopeful. But that being said, we now have the approval to move ahead, and this is a necessary resolution to amend the capital plan. Any questions, comments on that?
Yeah, there was one big item that was added, that was alluded to earlier, which was the WQAA that came from the state, which requires us to provide more details on the capital plan for the water service. And they require it to be basically over the course. And what we provided to them was between 2022 and 2031. The number was $7,477,600, and the title was Water Main Replacement. And this ties into what we started back in 2019, if you recall, when we started off doing the Phase 3A well, and we kicked off Phase 3B kind of this year by running the water down Ocean Avenue, the new water line. Well, the side streets have to be tied into that. So that's part of this outfit. This number here is when we tie in all the side streets such as E, F, G, H, all the way down the quarter. That has to get tied into the new water main system. If you recall, we had broken it out, Phase 3A, 3B, 3C. 3A was from 14th all the way down to Island, and then the next 13 blocks was envisioned, and then the final number of blocks. So we're kind of like not following that blueprint that we had started off on, in the sense that for what we're doing with well 11, we started off by doing the new water main, running it from, I believe, Porter all the way down, southward. So again, this is just the capital estimates, and it also included, such as, updating well 6 and 8, doing some rehab down the road. So it's a long-term plan that the state wanted us to put into what our thinking was. So that's what this new thing that we had to do, this WQAA. It's water quality, something, something. So it's from the DEP, so if you would Google it, you would see what that acronym is. I did before I came here, but I didn't write it. And it escapes me.
Unfortunately, the state had changed the regulation very late in the game. I don't know, Karen and Jenna can speak. March. So when all the towns had been well engaged in the process of preparing and actually getting their drafts of budgets ready to go. But that being said, we have finished that process. And anything else on the resolution to amend the capital plan? If from council, or if not, I would entertain a motion.
So moved, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft,
Second.
second by Councilmember Rotunda. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
And 224-160 is a resolution to authorize the municipal budget to be read by title only at the public hearing, as per past procedures utilized by not just this town, but nearly every town, if not every town. So, any questions, comments from council, or if not, a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Council President Wilk,
Second.
second by Councilmember Condos. Roll call.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
motion approved.
And next entails the public hearing on the municipal budget and the adoption of the 2024 municipal budget. That was introduced back on April 4th, 2024, by Resolution 224-133. And that had been summarized, reviewed on the record on that date and on the prior occasion in summary fashion with the public questions, comments also entertained, as well as those from the council. Any further questions, comments, summary or otherwise from council on the budget?
No.
None at this juncture. As such, I would go into the audience if there are any public comments as to the hearing of the 2024 budget. If anyone has that, they could give their name and address into the record. Yes, Edie?
Is this time when I just want to have some...
You have to give your name and address.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
can't hear you.
I don't know if this is... Let me play pretty yellow with that. I just have some questions of things I don't understand about. Is this the time to ask them? Okay. All right. And I don't know how to tell you what page this is on, but hopefully you'll understand what I ask. Okay, my first question is under current fund appropriations, the fire department. You have other expenses, hydrant service, clothing allowance, and miscellaneous. And that went from 96,000 and change to $146,000 and change. What's like miscellaneous? What are some miscellaneous things that would cost $146,000 going up from, it's almost to $50,000?
I can answer that, actually. So 3 years ago, the fire department entered into a lease agreement to lease radios because frequencies were changing. And before this year, that money was not in their budget, it was being paid out of the finance budget. So this year, we just moved it to the right department.
Okay.
And that's, I think, $56,000 that was the year.
Thank you. Streets and roads, other expenses? Is that like patching and stuff like that? It's under current funds appropriations, under public works.
57,455?
Yes.
all those things.
Do you have the breakdown bill on
I do not, but it's typically, and let me, you got your page number?
that? Yeah, page sheet 15.
Oh, I'm sorry, sheet 15, payroll number.
Streets and roads. I mean, last year, yeah, I see where we,
26,500.
yeah,
Right.
What would be?
Only 19,523.46 was paid or charged.
yeah. So we had 7,000 left, roughly 7,000 left over.
If I had to
The
guess,
increases
is it gonna be road
were
salt and miscellaneous, anything used over there?
anything on the roads, yeah.
Okay, I
Road
just-
repair.
Yeah, if we had
Don't
to
know what
guess.
it is, road salt and they've got patching in or.
Patches and, yeah.
Was,
Yeah.
It probably would include, no, wouldn't include the, thinking the, central avenue, comes out of that or not, for the mowing.
Well, if I had to guess, I'm just guessing, wouldn't you say this would be like part of the yellow lines being
Yeah,
painted?
on the curbs.
Yeah,
Curves,
that's true.
I mean, it's more than
Any-
miscellaneous,
any
it would
road
be anything
maintenance.
pertaining to the, servicing of the road.
Replacing street signs that get blown over, and
Yeah.
there's all kinds of stuff, yeah.
okay.
Painting, new, numbers on the
Yes.
gate.
And all
Parking
of the
places.
parking spaces and
Yeah.
stuff like that, okay. Okay. Sheet 17, under utility expenses and bulk purchases. For gasoline, last year, 150,000 was budgeted. This year, that's gone down to 125,000. My question is, do you know something about gas prices going down that we don't? Because I'm thinking they're only going up, and I'm wondering why we're
Which page?
budgeting less.
Gasoline number,
17.
sheet 17.
It was budgeted at 150 in 2023, but we only spent 96,000.
96,000, we only spent 96,900,
I guess
3469, so we brought the number down to reflect
Okay.
what was actually used.
All right, well, I mean, hopefully, that's right, that would be good. This is just a bulky deal.
I mean, it was a tight budget this year, so we tried to squeeze the numbers
Okay.
as much as we could.
Sheet 22, current fund appropriations, Berkeley Township Animal Control Service. Is this for, like, rabid raccoons and feral cats and what are
Boxes
boxes,
and, yeah.
stuff like that?
Yep.
Yeah, we're required to have animal control, so we get that through shared service with Berkeley Township.
Okay. So the cost of that's obviously going up all over, okay. The anticipated surplus I see is 1,450,000.
Correct.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is less than we had left over at the end of the year. Is that to help with the budgeting? I know there's a certain percent you can carry in surplus, and I'm not sure what that is, but are we going to anticipate less surplus because we're going to tighten the budget a little bit?
The last 2 years, our surplus went down significantly.
Right.
So we had to lower what we could use
Okay.
this year. So we're better off using a smaller number anyway. Because if you have a shortfall, then,
I mean, we still want to have a surplus in case of.
oh yeah, we definitely have a surplus.
Yeah.
Sheet 40B1, fire hydrants. Are we replacing for 100,000?
There were some fire hydrants on the bay side that are rusted.
Oh, I
That,
wonder why.
I don't know why either. But Josh felt that, they're
Okay.
some of them are in dire need of being replacements very soon.
Fair enough. Last page, I promise. 40B, this is capital budget. Dune replacement.
Oh,
382,000.
yeah, that was, yes, the dune replacement, that was what the, I guess it was FEMA or Army Corps had told us that that was our share. So that was, we had to put it into our capital plan, although you notice there's no funding, it's not funded.
Right, well, they're not planning on doing that this year, right?
No. It was in there last year as well.
And then I see on that same thing, 500,000 fascia repair, that's this building,
Yes.
all the way around.
Yeah.
Oh, good, so take care of that.
That was our WAG at what we thought it would take. It might be more, it might be less, but, you know, we wanted to have a placeholder for it and take our best guess at what it would cost.
All right, thank you for your information, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Edie.
Any other questions for the budget hearing? Hearing none, I would close the public hearing and I'd entertain what is next on the agenda is a resolution for adoption. It's 224-133, adoption of the municipal budget for fiscal year 2024.
I'll make the motion there.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft,
I'll second it, Mayor.
second by Councilmember Connor. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
And thank you, and thank everyone on the council, and
Especially
Councilmember Kraft and his committee, and
Our guys did.
Joyce, our
Good
CFO,
job.
and bond counsel as well, and our administrator, joint effort of a lot of work through the winter, and much appreciated. Next item on the agenda are ordinances. First is first reading and introduction ordinance 22413. It's a capital ordinance of the Borough of Seaside Park, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, appropriating $132,000 for general capital items per the 2024 budget. And these particular items, including this one, are all carried as well. They were contemplated to be introduced at the last meeting and all had to await the actual adoption of the budget. I don't know if any other summary. It's a first reading.
I guess it's worth mentioning that the amount is $132,000, and that's the aggregate amount for a few items. $17,000 for the Scott bottles used by the fire department, $100,000 for our parking kiosks, and $15,000 for the recreation department for a street legal vehicle, AKA golf cart. That's all.
Thank you, Bill. Do we have then a motion for first reading?
Make the motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft,
Second.
second by Councilmember Rotunda. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
The next item is also first reading of an ordinance. It's ordinance 22414, a capital ordinance of the Borough of Seaside Park, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, appropriating $240,000 for various marina capital items per the 2024 budget. Any comments from council on?
Yeah, I will add to that, Mayor. It's appropriating $240,000, as was mentioned, and the items is $165,000 is for the marina lighting system and upgrade, but that also includes the Fifth Avenue Pier. Recently, we've put up temporary lighting to hold this over until the new lighting is designed and then put into place, which will probably be, I guess, the fall timeframe. And there's additional $75,000 for water system upgrades at the marina as well. That's all there.
Thank you, Bill, and again, thank you and your committee for a lot of hard work on that. Do we have a motion for first reading?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember O'Connor,
Second.
second by Councilmember Condos. Roll call.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
And next is a first reading introduction ordinance 22415, that too a capital ordinance of the Borough of Seaside Park, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, appropriating $400,000 for various water capital items per the 2024 budget. And
Yes, I'll add to that.
thank you again for all your work.
This is, again, coming out of the water capital and not the current fund capital. There's 4 items that this $400,000 addresses. 50,000 is for the well 6 rehab, mainly the building. If you go to the rec center, you'll see that well 6 building is in dire need of repair. So that's what that's for. $100,000 is for a water sewer jetter for making emergency cleanouts of the sewer systems. $90,000 for the water service truck, which is a Ford F-450. It's a heavy-duty truck because it carries all the heavy equipment, and it's, I don't know, 15 years old, I'm thinking, something like that, and it's pretty well gone, as need of replacement. And $160,000 for a backhoe, which is a replacement for one that has failed. That's my understanding.
Thank
That's all
you.
there.
Thank you, Bill. Any other comments from council, or if not, a motion for first reading?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft,
I'll second it, Mayor.
second by Council President Wilk. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
motion approved.
And next is final reading and adoption. It's bond ordinance 22416, providing for various capital improvements and other related expenses in and for the Borough of Seaside Park and appropriating $300,150 therefore, and providing for the issuance of $285,140 in bonds as per 2024 budget. Any questions, comments from council? This being a final reading, I'll go into the audience if there's any public comments. Final reading and adoption of the aforementioned bond ordinance. Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. I'd entertain a motion for final reading.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Rotunda,
Second.
second by Councilmember Condos. Roll call.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
Next item is final reading of an adoption bond ordinance 22417, amending ordinance 22218 of the borough, finally adopted July 14th, 2022, providing for parking lot improvements and appropriating $2,200,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,090,000 bonds and notes to finance a portion of the cost thereof. And I know we had explanation when this was first introduced. This goes back to all the ongoing efforts and research at accumulating past authorized expenditures for the parking lot project and amending that ordinance. That's
Yes, we increased it from 1.2 million to 2.2 million with this ordinance.
And any other questions, comments from council? Or if not, I'll go into the audience. This is final reading, hearing, and adoption of bond ordinance 22417. Yes, Shirley?
Shirley Preston, 700 North Bayview Avenue. On the parking lot, is that going to be like restriped as far as like the size of spaces? Because I believe the handicap spaces are a little small.
Very.
And is that going to be made more compliant? A complete redo of parking lots 1, 2, and 3? Okay. Including, like, trying to eliminate that sharp turn when you come into parking lot 2, that emergency vehicles have a hard time negotiating, and making sure the spaces are the right size and handicap spaces are compliant.
Yeah, because when the ramp comes out the side, you can't.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public comments on adoption of the bond ordinance? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. I would entertain a motion from council for final reading and adoption.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Amabile,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Connor. Roll call.
Councilmember Anfield?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes?
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next is first reading and introduction ordinance 224-18, designating Second Avenue a one-way street. And this had been authorized on numerous past occasions by the council, and also was welcomed by the public. And the reason for the delay in the related and required ordinance entailed the fact that Second Avenue is perpendicular to and adjacent to a state highway, and the state DOT had to give their approval and authorization, and also had to provide the specific wording that they required, which fortunately came this week just in time to have this first reading. So that being said, this action had been long awaited. Once that second reading occurs, then I can turn it over. I know Karen, our administrator, has been working diligently on this, as has the whole council, to make sure that this happens. And the goal naturally was to make sure that any and all such measures would be effectuated prior to the height of the season. So I don't know.
But we're at the mercy of New Jersey Department of Transportation. So once the ordinance is adopted at the next meeting, we have to send a certified copy to DOT for them to approve. Once they approve, then they have to contact their road department to come out and change the signs. No ETI on how long that might take.
So the one-way signs belong to the city?
Yeah, because they intersect their state highway.
So Karen, the state does the one-way signs?
Yes, and the do not enter.
And the do not enter and stop signs there?
Yeah, the county was very easy with us on the Ocean Ave side. They said, you can change the signs, we're okay, we get in writing, email, we're fine with you changing it to a one-way.
Right,
The county was fine on the Ocean Ave side.
right.
The state was not.
So to make it clear, Karen, we might not be in time for the summer.
I don't know.
I know you don't know.
I know I'm anticipating it being adopted on June the 6th, and on June the 7th, Jen and I will make sure it gets to the state. And then after that, it's kind of out of our hands, except for the part where I will constantly be
Is there
calling.
any way we can light a fire? You know, keep calling them, say, you know, summer's coming, blah, blah, blah.
Maybe Ray wants to go down to Trenton.
They don't care.
What?
The DOT and hand them the ordinance, knock on their door.
No, I think that cover transmittal letter has to
I
be
understand.
urgently delivered with a reference that it is definitely safety related
I understand.
and
At least
imperative.
it's in motion now, so that we'll definitely get it now at some point when they talk to us again.
Maybe.
No, I firmly believe.
Yeah, of course.
Positive individual. Yeah.
It will happen, just don't know when.
Okay.
Anything else on this from council, or if not, do we have a motion for first reading?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Council President Wilk,
Second?
second by Councilmember Condos. Roll call.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next are resolutions. I'll read in summary fashion. 174, appointing Class 2 special law enforcement officers for the calendar year 2024. 175, appointing seasonal pump-out boat operators for 2024 summer season. 176, authorizing the solicitation of bids for the lease for antenna attachment on municipal water tower and ground space for ancillary support equipment located at Block 5, Lot 17 of the Borough of Seaside Park's tax map as per the discussion at the work session. 177, appointing seasonal employees for the Department of Beach Control. 178, authorizing the award of contract for a fence for Public Works. And 179, proclaiming June 21st to 23rd as Pride Weekend in Seaside Park. Any other questions, comments from council? Hearing none, I would entertain any public comments on any of the resolutions. If anyone has them, if they could give their name and address into the record. Hearing none.
Mr. Mayor, I just have a question.
Yes, sir.
On 177, do I need to abstain for that? Some of those kids work for us part-time in the restaurants. That's some of the kids on the beach control.
No,
Okay,
you don't have to abstain.
okay.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to consider the resolutions as a consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft,
Second.
second by Councilmember Condos. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
And that concludes the resolution and the written agenda. Is there anything further from council at this juncture? And by way of announcements, I know all of us joined together in inviting and welcoming everyone in the public to our annual Memorial Day service scheduled to be held right outside this building on the lawn. That on Memorial Day itself, Monday at 9:30 in the morning, when we always have our annual service to recognize those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice for each and every one of us so that we enjoy the freedoms that we have. And certainly everyone is invited and encouraged to attend along with neighbors, friends, summer visitors who may be here that weekend as well. So that, by way of announcement, I know, and we thank everyone who's been working hard to put that together, including the Recreation Department, the Police Department, Public Works, our administrator and our clerk putting it together, and the whole council, everyone, to make sure that is a very solemn event which we regularly observe. Any other announcements from council? Anything further? If not, we'll go into the audience. If there are any public comments, if anyone has them, if they could give their name and address into the record. Yes, Faye?
I'm up first. I have a, Faye Herring, 21 I Street. Mr. Kraft, I have a question for you. You said something about $2,600. I didn't catch what that was for.
That was the amount of money that is, when we introduced the budget, we were going to collect a certain amount of taxes overall.
From individuals?
No, overall, the total from the whole town. So that amount went up by $2,600.
Okay. I caught the $2,600, but not where it was coming from. You were afraid it was allocated. Yeah, I was afraid. Be $2,600.
It's actually $2,056.
Okay, but it's not from each.
It's not from you.
Okay.
Thank you, Faye. Yes, Michelle?
Michelle Miller, 1500 Lake Avenue.
First of all, I appreciate the council's participation. It's been a lot better. I understand that there was discussion of a dog park or something for Park Central, or using it for anything. Is that, well, I'd like to mention, I like the idea of a dog park, but I propose another location. A lot of people do use the marina and the West End, and it seems to work well. It's not, that large. I think that we use a lot of property and we're not getting any revenue from it. So if the Park Central area, which is right on Central Avenue, if we had some kind of commerce or something that you would be renting out, whether it be a miniature golf or something like that, it would be nice for you to consider. As far as the dog park in Lavalette does have a $25 fee a year. So this is revenue. All the dogs must be licensed, which means that they have their rabies. It has to be current, and it provides, the owners of the dogs to feel safe about it. Since all the rabies has to be up to date, I would think that that might be even more revenue again, because everybody's going to want to get their dogs licensed. The dogs are given tags to identify their right to use the area. We do have a summer issue with the geese at the marina, so having dogs there might eliminate that problem. I'd like to think about the other social part of it. As far as the adults, about 70% of the population is a senior resident. Lavalette Park is something that I participate in, and there's a few people that use that totally as their social life. They go there, they meet, they greet. This past year, there was one woman who got sick. We didn't see her for a couple of days. We investigated, and she was sick. So it's a good public service thing also. You do, okay, as far as companions for exercise, that is important. I know that it would be important also to find out from Chief Bogue if he thought that this was reasonable and if the cops would be willing to at least earmark or take a look as they pass by. This year we have these bright purple tags on the collar, and it's very easy to notify. And the people that use the dog park also are very conscientious. If somebody comes in and they have 3 other dogs from another town, we do ask if they have their tags and say, well, there is cameras, we're going to notify the police, and that assures us that our dogs will be safe. And we haven't had, any incident. So just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Any other public comments? Yes, Chuck?
Chuck Appleby, 215 10th Avenue. I got a couple things here. I actually wrote them down, just hit them all. Environmental Committee had to reclaim the bay the other night. What a great event. I mean, we want to do more of those. The Historical Society wants to bring in speakers and stuff. I mean, it really makes the community. It's really nice. And I want to say I appreciate all that they do. It's very good. As far as the budget goes, I know this building, when we had the tower taken down with the clock, I believe that the siding was all asbestos, so it added to the cost a lot, so it's something to consider. It happened quite a while ago. Councilman Gallagher, I recall, said asbestos, that's all a lie, doesn't affect anybody. That's a bunch of BS from the council. I remember that. It was pretty funny. But it ended up costing us a lot of money, and they damaged the sidewalks too. It took us a lot of years to fix the sidewalks from the equipment they had and stuff. So there's a lot to look at when you do a job like that. My son Charlie graduated Keene University today. It was really nice. He was one of the last kids going to Seaside Park Elementary. I pulled him out before we closed the school, went to Lavalette, but he really, he had to go some good times there up to, I think, third grade. Things move on. But I was really happy about that, and it made me see something that today, how much I appreciate Seaside Park. Go to Newark for a graduation in the morning, and you'll see how wonderful Seaside Park is to come back to. It is just crazy up there, and I hate it. Park Apartments, I walked by with my dog, and I think somebody should look at that grass job that went in. I know there was a scope of work for the demo. When I do those, there's topsoil that goes back. It's very gravelly, very hard. The vegetation hasn't come back as much as I would think that you want in a contract like that. So if somebody could take a look at that, it should be, at like 85% growth in there. The soil should be good. It's very hard, compacted, and it's not growing very much, all weeds. And I think in the scope, I've had contractors come back 2 or 3 times to do it, redo it, because they just skip that part and leave until somebody complains. So if you could review that contract. All right, our favorite subject, the Bay Flooding Committee meeting. So this Saturday, we're going to have the Mayor's Committee meeting. There was a flyer distributed by Sherry Volano and some of her neighbors, I guess. And they went out and they had a response that's overwhelming from responses. We asked for comments and concerns from local Bayfront residents. It only went to people in the 100-year flood. So we did have a bunch of requests for people to come to our committee meeting. And I told everybody, out of respect, it's a mayor's committee meeting. We're having that. We have a plan to then meet with the council afterwards and then have a public meeting at some time during the summer or some date in the future, not too far away. So we want to do that. And just wanted to let you know that, there might be other meetings of residents going on. That's what I'm hearing about discussions and things like that, including the yacht club. So we want to make sure that we're all aware that this is a big situation, and we want to try to contain it, focus it, and try to manage it as best we can in respect of everybody that lives there, and everybody in town. And I think that basically summarizes everything that I had to say. And the dog park, it is a dog park. That west side of the marina there, I go there all the time. I'm there with my dog, and I just have to try to make sure that no other dogs are around. Councilman Fritz McHugh, he was totally against it. As a veterinarian, I understand. I had a lot of conversations with him. He didn't believe that the town should be putting dogs together in an area like that, and I respect that, and that was his opinion. But I think they are an asset to many communities, and they need to be managed well, and other towns do it. And the argument was years ago, the GIF doesn't have insurance and this and that, you can't do things. And that's a bunch of BS. I mean, other towns do it. Other towns do a lot of stuff. And it's easy to say that insurance doesn't cover it, but it does. Our insurance covers a lot of stuff. You push the envelope a little bit and you get a lot done. So I do think that we should pursue that there. It would take the dogs away from, and we could enforce more at the ballpark that we just redid. To keep the dogs off of there, because that one, you don't want to have dogs over there. I know a lot of people take their dogs over there. But if we did have a designated area, I think it would be utilized really well. We put trees up. I asked all the neighbors on that street once if they would mind if we put in Leyland cypress, which are the trees at Gina's house over here. And they would grow similarly. And that would be a beautiful thing, and it would also, beautify the area a little bit. Just one big line across by the sidewalk there, and then a fence and whatever's appropriate for a dog park. So I'd encourage that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Yes, Shirley?
Shirley Cresswell, 700 North Bayview Avenue. What is the tax increase for us, local? Like, are we going up?
It's roughly 4.4 cents.
4.4 Okay. The well that's supposed to go up, or it's been proposed to go up where Desert Palm is, How, could you explain what that would look like, what you're putting in there, or to put in there? Someone?
It would be very similar to the other two wells. It would just be a building approximately 25 by 25 feet.
Okay, well, it's a multi-million-dollar piece of property, so if we hadn't bought Desert Palm, where was another location?
You would have to buy up 3 or 4 homes in a borough Seaside Park to recreate the same thing.
It could go like on the end street lot, or part of a
No.
parking lot.
No,
So it
it's
has
not.
to go on a multi-million-dollar piece of property.
It has to
I
be,
mean,
yes.
and that sounds
It has,
sensible.
it has to be a certain distance away from our existing wells,
Mhm.
and that area has not been tapped for water before.
Okay. Say we still own Desert Palm, say that Desert Palm is still there. We just couldn't find a place for it? I mean, not in like a parking lot, like that's only, what, 2 blocks down? It just seems like if you're putting it up on a multi-million-dollar piece of property, are you gonna be able to sell that later on? Or are we gonna be stuck with it?
The well is not consuming the entire lot. To answer your
So
question,
you'd have to subdivide,
that is correct.
still losing money. Okay, how about the auction that went off on, I Street? Haven't heard anything about that tonight. Yeah, there's an auction, and there is a successful bidder, and they're working on the closing documents right now. Okay, so it was fine. Can I ask how much? Minimum bid, $550,000. So we lost like 500,000 on it? Yeah. Okay, that's moving right along. Somebody had talked to Verizon and was asking about, the FiOS and getting their internet, and then asked about the TV service in place of cable. She was told it's up to our town to request them to come and give us the cable for TVs. I don't know if any of you have heard that. I'm not sure if this one knew what she was talking about. But can we look into something like that to get cable for our televisions?
You mean FiOS?
Yeah. Because I did it for my internet, and I have a lot on through via Verizon.
Yeah,
And a lot of us were really hoping, because cable's a game.
no, I realize that.
You have to, all of a sudden your rate goes up, you call, well, let's see what we can do, well, call back in 2 months, maybe there's a deal. It's just getting game playing anymore. And if they say, the town can request it, then maybe I would like somebody to maybe look into that and see if we can get it in town, if that's all it takes.
I don't think, we can check, but I don't think it's available. I could ask. I don't, last time we checked, they were just doing FiOS, but only through the internet.
I think that is the
as
service,
opposed-
it's like
yeah.
a streaming
It's the
cable
streaming
service.
service
I don't
for
think you're you don't want to get cable. They don't even
Yeah.
offer, like,
Well, I mean, Tom's, Tom's River, they all have the FiOS through Verizon.
we could call,
Just to check it out.
I mean, a hardwired to a box.
I just
Like-
want to get rid of
Just
cable.
like Aquaman.
And I don't want complicated things like the kids have. I want to hit a button, have my TV, without doing cable. I know that's outdated, but, all right, well, if somebody could just look into it, it might be worth it. The Borough Hall, I mentioned a while ago how disgraceful it looked, and the garage doors did get painted. The railing going up the front steps is really disgraceful.
And so are the
Can I
windows.
volunteer to scrape it, and then somebody could paint it? Or can I get volunteers to come scrape and paint? It's disgraceful. It's a borough hall, we're supposed to be proud of our buildings. And if it was on my house, I'd be ashamed. Can you take volunteers to go fix it if nobody else could do it?
I think part of it too is a lot of the wood is rotted, and actually Eric and I have talked about that, maybe just replacing it with vinyl, the railings. It really won't match the look of the building, but it'll be less maintenance, it'll last longer.
Is that possibly I brought this up a while ago.
Some of us have talked about even the window trim on
Oh,
all the
yeah, the
windows.
whole thing was
You put
awful.
your finger through it.
We've talked about it a lot. The ceiling, believe me, I'm up there.
Yeah,
It's awful,
it is.
okay? And just to your point, not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before, I walked up there because we sold badges out of there. And I go up and there's that round ball on the end. I went to do this, I just pulled it off in my hand.
Yeah.
So Shirley, I hear you. And-
Yeah,
and-
I
And
mean,
it's off, it really is.
Borough Hall should be one of the nicest looking buildings,
It's
you
a-
know? And
I
it
think that
really-
was done with a historical grant, and they specified a lot of the material. That's
Oh,
why,
I know.
that's why all the windows are rotten.
And they
Right.
Yeah, so-
Yeah,
we got
because
to
it
work
was a
on that.
historical
Yeah.
thing. But, I mean, I'd really like to see at least the railing, so when, you know, somebody comes to our town and has a question, they're not, because it is pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
So if you need volunteers, there's a lot of people in this town who are willing to volunteer. Which brings me to another point I just thought of that's not even written down. Down at the recycling center. I know there's a thing about, you know, how much it costs to have a borough employee sit there. Lavalette put it out to the public, and they weren't volunteer, they were paid like minimum wage to sit there. It was older people that gladly sat there. The one guy I talked to, he said, it was a blast, he loved it. Talked to different people coming in, he didn't mind sitting there. Maybe we could look into something like that to free up an employee and put a volunteer in there to do it. You know, I mean, there's people sitting around that, I'm still working, but there are people. But you're always afraid, it seems like, to reach out to the public for different things, that maybe it would help out. Okay, I'll leave you with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Thanks, Shirley.
Any other public comments? Yeah, yes, Edie?
Okay, I have one last question and then a comment. The resolution 174 that appointed the 4 Class 2s, I know that in prior discussions with several people, I know that it's hard to entice officers to work here, and sometimes when they've signed up, they end up going somewhere else. Is that a possibility with the Class 2s, or is that only a possibility with the Class 1s? Like, are these 4, is it possible that we might lose them?
I guess there's always that.
What do you mean by lose them?
Well, that they might go somewhere else, because somebody else is paying them more.
They're not
It's not
tied.
tied to it.
Okay, they're not
They're
tied.
seasonal.
They're not
Okay.
tied, no.
Outside of contract.
That's my question. Okay,
Seasonal, yeah.
my comment is, and Chuck still mentioned it a little bit, about the program last night. So it was an excellent program, and I want to thank the council for funding the environmental committee so that they can bring these programs to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Edie. Any other public comments? Hearing none, I would, yes, sir.
Too late.
Waited so patiently.
Hello, I am Dan Mestia, first time here, 504 North Bayview Avenue. I have a couple of things. One thing was, I know someone had mentioned Park Central. My idea that I brought up was a miniature golf course on that piece of property. I'm an owner and a builder of miniature golf. We do theme parks, based on what the town is. So I'd like to actually put that in there and put that out there for someone to think about that and maybe do miniature golf. I know it's seasonal. We keep our properties pristine, and I think that's a great place and a lot of good activity for kids. I've been here pretty much my whole life as a visitor, and we bought about 18 years ago as a summer home. Love it, grew up our kids here. I think it's a great place for kids and families to maybe have an activity during the summer. That's my suggestion. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, is that out there? I love the town, and actually, we're from Metuchen, we just sold our home in Metuchen, and we're here full-time.
Oh, nice.
Because of the beach, the police, the whole atmosphere was great. It was great. Now, all right, we deal with the flooding, you have to be a certain type of person to be there with the flood. My wife thinks I'm crazy, but, it's water. It's gonna come. So my question is, since I haven't been up on everything here, what's the latest and greatest? Does anybody have
Wait for that
anything?
meeting that Chuck's gonna have.
Well, I mean, Chuck, you're gonna have a meeting, and I will be there.
No, you won't.
No?
No, not the meeting, the committee meeting.
Okay.
For the
But
public
we're
meeting.
gonna have another meeting.
All right, so we're gonna have a
Inform
pub-
everybody.
Great.
Best we can.
Yeah, we wrote a nice letter.
Did you write a letter?
Yes.
Very good, thank you.
Did all that. We appreciate that. But do you guys have any ideas of what's going on? Where are we at? I mean, I hear, just being in the town, working in the town, we hear from everybody. Everybody's got their own suggestions of what's gonna happen. But do you guys have any idea, like, where we're at? Is it gonna be 10 years from now, 5 years from now, next month?
We'll know more in the public meeting.
The
I mean, you gotta have some.
Army Corps of Engineers, for example, handcuffs us because they won't give us the permit to proceed on how we want to go.
Right, I think it's, your design, everything looks good. There's something about Earl grass that I'm starting to get from eelgrass that I'm starting to get familiar with. Is there eelgrass there? There was, but I'm talking about now.
Well, they want us to map it.
Well, didn't they go in the water and look for that, to see if it was
They
there?
did.
And did they find it?
They found some, but not much.
All right, so we're going out 50 feet.
4 years ago. Everything is time, remember, things are changing. So his question is valid.
No, I'm not.
Is it there?
Hold on, I'm up here.
Okay.
I'm up here.
Got it.
I am not putting any pressure on anybody. This is new to me, and I just figured maybe somebody else would have an idea of what's going on. Something's gonna happen, I assume. Yeah, I know everybody's shaking their head, but nothing out there besides our meeting that you're gonna have.
I'm afraid to answer this question because I
Yeah.
don't feel like I should, but like this has come up multiple times,
Of
the same
course.
thing you're asking about. And the reason I was saying Chuck, I didn't mean the meeting that he's having immediately, the mayor's Bayfront committee, but that's what all of us, including some of us here, have been asking for, is like, let's document everything that's happened. I know that we've gotten kind of I had requested from our engineers, like, what have we done to date, and like, what's the next steps? And I think the mayor has also documented some things, so I think that's what they're trying to put it all together, so that you can have a meaningful dialogue when you pull everybody together. Is that, unless you want to add something to that?
I mean,
I don't think there's anything,
There's so many different
like, you can't summarize
facets.
it in
It's a
5 minutes.
multifaceted
Right.
problem that requires a multifaceted
Yeah, no, I agree.
answer, and it's not the answer that we would all love, and that is the total elimination of flooding. But what we are striving for is the maximum effective mitigation,
Right.
not elimination.
Yeah,
And
you're
the
not gonna
mitigation
eliminate that, I
from a
understand.
number of different perspectives, so.
It's more of the wave action. When it's windy, everybody knows that.
It's worth what?
When it's windy,
The wave.
the wave action that wall's kind of useless at this point. That's all. Being a first-time person here in this meeting,
We could go
I
on
know you guys are.
for hours. I had
No, I understand that.
a meeting last week
So it's good that I'm here.
for 5 hours, 2 county meetings,
Yeah.
2 mayor's meetings.
No, I appreciate
We
it.
had a meeting, a whole number of us up here on the council attended this week. It actually was about tourism, but it immediately turned into a meeting with each and every Barrier Island mayor about the impact of flooding on all the Barrier Island communities, and every mayor and official, and Councilman Connors was there, our administrator was, we were all giving our firsthand experience, and
I'm up on that. I read all those things, the notes and stuff. I just wanted to put that out there. If there was anything floating around, but I
we
guess.
don't get the coverage
You
from
don't
the
get the
Ocean
coverage.
Star. We have our coverage, which is excellent, but Ocean Star covers the mayor's meetings, I think, and they are informative, and
Yeah.
we were given very positive initial reactions of a joint application as a shared services application of all 9 communities together. And each mayor was there, I think only maybe one exception at that meeting. And then the week before, there was a similar meeting, and our town was the first town to pass that resolution, and sign on to the agreement, and then it'll be taken to the state for funding
Right.
and different avenues to pursue.
All right, so it's still going on.
Oh, and that's a very important step, because it used to be 9 people, 9 Barrier Island towns, all going, their own separate way. Now 9 equals 1. And there's just like the numbers and things like that, but that's a big conglomerate to approach the state or anybody, Army Corps of Engineers, all together. And we're sharing information, as we heard at the meeting, as we always did with the towns, and helping each other out to try to move a lot of this on, because, all these 9 towns have the same issue that we do.
Yeah.
So I love that shared services. The state loves that kind of stuff too, the county. Commissioner Sadeghi was there, and obviously very supportive of things that we suggested to him for this. So that is, you asked the latest, and that just happened this week. So 9 equals 1 going, yeah.
So we had, as Councilman Connor said, we had one commissioner at that meeting, and the prior meeting, there were 2 of the 5 commissioners of the county were there. And they have now, I didn't know if I was telling tales out of school, but he said it was public, so that Ocean County itself has now joined us as a 10th entity for a resiliency shared services agreement. And so they're a party to it, because they recognize, obviously, here, for example, along the Barrier Island, it's the county infrastructure that's affected. It's county tourism. That was really supposed to have been, and it was a good discussion on tourism, but the impact on tourism and home values and people coming here to the shore is directly impacted and in a negative way. And it's something we all have to address, each and every town, and look for the funding, look for some avenues for mitigation. There's probably not one avenue itself or one approach, but there's a lot of them together that I think we can do.
Okay. That's all.
I know Shirley maybe doesn't think we always listen. And we do listen. We do listen.
I'm listening to Shirley.
Well, Shirley brought up, for example, I think it was 2 meetings ago, but I lose it at some point, but a couple, and she had heard through the rumor mill something that I had heard through the rumor mill, that at least one other town had been like we are in Seaside Park. We've asked repeatedly the state DOT, and we've heard in another forum, they're not the quickest bureaucracy to act about anything. And I know people throw up their hands here at Seaside Park just trying to get a donation in place for a flagpole on DOT, the obstacles that they throw. But at any rate, we had asked for hookups for the pump out stations on the bayfront. They have some very negative labels from a lot of residents. They call them something else. I've heard all sorts of names to them, but bottom line, Seaside Park has pointed out they don't work, and they don't work as effectively as apparently they were designed. Our town had asked and even volunteered to help them with their effectiveness and to have hookups allowed for the DOT perspective, which was not allowed into the system. And I'd heard the same rumor Shirley had, and from that Manaloking had been denied year after year, just like we had, for a permit from the DOT. And then Manaloking, just within 8 weeks, did get permission at long last. And at this very same meeting, we were all attending this week. The mayor of Manaloking was there, and it wasn't one of the 4 major storm events of this last fall, winter, but it was a flooding event. The last one that occurred, their residents reported that the effectiveness was maximized and was fairly dramatic in those neighborhoods. So he was very happy that the DOT had relented. So we're pursuing that now to bring to the council. Mayor, the Manaloking had to spend what appears to be $80,000 for DOT permitting, surveys, upgrades, and engineering, submit that all as a package. I've written them a DOT, and They have not formally responded, and if they don't, we'll follow up on that immediately. And if that's the avenue, if they're not going to take our old application with that engineering work, and a lot was done.
Yeah, you did a lot.
We had our engineer, in fact, we had drone demonstrations with looking down at the water after flooding events, just circulating around and around uselessly, wasting electricity, wasting power, wasting everything, and not addressing a problem, not mitigating. So we have an application there that they had denied, but so did Manloking, so maybe they'll accept that. But if they won't, I'm sure the council is going to give every consideration to taking the next step and having that resubmitted with the engineering work. So there's so many different avenues all being pursued simultaneously. It's such an awful problem that it's growing, escalating.
Well, my only problem right at this point is my wife couldn't get out of the house, so I went and got her waders, because I saw you in the water one day. And I said to her, I said, well, here, you can get out of the house wearing it.
You're a trendsetter
She
now,
goes, I'm
Mark.
not wearing it. So that's my problem.
No, it's dramatic, and I mean, we heard comments, and obviously we all experience it, those that have lived here all these years.
Yeah, you guys have been here longer than I have.
It's something above and beyond what we have the problem, obviously, we all know it. The landmass of New Jersey is going down, it's documented, science has shown us, and sea level rise is going up, so we have two factors. But above and beyond that, I think everyone's pointing out and suggesting that something else is going on and has been going on since Sandy that's maybe escalated it, made it worse than those two factors. So
It's changed a little bit since I've been here.
yeah, I mean, it could be.
Gonna happen.
That's one of the avenues that we want some answers at the state and federal level.
All right. Good, so I'm going to see you eventually at some meeting.
Eventually what?
Eventually, I'm gonna go to a meeting that's all about.
Can I make a comment?
Sure, Chuck.
Me?
No.
Chuck's one.
I just want to thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
And I would love to build that miniature golf course there.
And welcome as a full-time resident.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fun.
I'll bring a 3 wood to the miniature golf.
Oh, God, there goes the windows.
So, regarding the flooding, I just want to say Grumpy's has the largest selection of waders. I just bought a pair for my son, $250 for waders down there, but size 14, I think. So they have the biggest selection anywhere. So,
I got one left over that my wife won't wear, so you can have it.
so, well, if you want to follow my shoes, I bought a bigger boat. That's what I did. So, what I wanted to say is that I was down the inlet a little while ago, just last week, where it used to be around 19 feet deep. My depth report, it was showing it was 25 feet, which I thought was really significant. I was in a spot which I'm pretty familiar with, and it just seems to be scouring out deeper. We had a lot different fishing this year. I mean, we're getting big blues right off of 14th Ave and drumfish. I don't know if you saw the fishermen lined up along the bay.
Yeah.
Things change. It's ephemeral. It's ever changing, the bay and everything like that. So we have to go with it. So we have to adjust. So like the mayor said, we have the pumps we want to use, but the curbing all has to be raised. There's other things that you have to do. I looked into different moorings in the bay. So there's different mooring systems you can put in to reduce the impact on the subaquatic vegetation. So some towns and cities do that type of thing. So I did meet with the environmental committee first time. I went back, I was a founding member actually, but I went to them and asked them if they are interested, because I wanted to let them know about the bay flooding and everything. And they were very interested about being part of it. So having the community involved, everybody, is very important. We can't say no to that. We have to say, we have to embrace that, and everybody has a stake in it. The largest investment most people have in town is their home. and they need to protect that, and we have to respect that, we have to help everybody do that. We don't want to lose value, asset value, not being able to sell and everything like that. But the depth of the bay, the change in the bay, the water system's changing. But if you go back, 812 Bayview over here, when I was around 7, 8 years old, we'd rent it in the summer. And I remember that block there, I don't know if you know, it's at the fork and it's got the 2 houses on it. I used to take my rowboat and row around it. We had the flooding. So it did flood years ago. It's just getting worse, but the frequency is what's getting us. It's happening constantly. We had the worst December ever, January, very bad. So we're going to discuss all that, and we're going to bring some good ideas. We have a lot of smart people in town. I don't want anybody to shy away from providing ideas. Everybody walks that bayfront, sees what's wrong. We need to correct everything. This, nice system, present it to the council, and then the DOT and everything in the state of New Jersey, and try to get some resolution to it. That pump system, I'm telling you, that killed the subaquatic vegetation. That pump, if you remember the sediment pictures of when it shot all that sand out because they installed it, they didn't seal the piping, it was all open piping, you know? So all that sand went out there, covered up that. They did it, the DOT. They're our worst ever. No job done on time, NJDOT. So don't count on them, we have to count on ourselves. That's what we have to do. All right, thank you.
And I believe you, Chuck, and a whole bunch of us up here, and for over the years, helped plant the natural plantings and natural growth all along that very area of the bayfront, with the root system always having been established. We had volunteers from Stockton helped us, from Stevens Institute and Rutgers, all helped us at no cost. They volunteered their time and effort to plant that. We had, at the time, the DOP, Dr. Lita Holmes Hood, I don't know if you remember the conversation, she helped us in person. The DOT Assistant Commissioner was here. We planted all that. What did the DOT do? With no permits, as far as I know, no notice to this town or our residents, ripped it all out, ripped it up, excavated it, and left that monstrosity.
And their design actually had a planting design, and what did they do? They put
the rocks.
Stone in, and they put sand, and then they just keep picking up sands up and the pumps get destroyed every year. I'd like to know how much money they're spending for that.
Endless.
Endless. The sand goes in the pumps, destroys them.
Yep.
They should put some thought in.
It's Milton Bay.
Shirley?
Shirley Crescent, 700 North Bayview Avenue. I just want to follow up with Dan about leasing the property at Park Central, putting in miniature golf. His course in La Valette is fabulous. It's packed all the time, all ages. I mean, there's my age, there's little kids. That would be one of the best things this town could do right now, because the boardwalk's expensive. So when you're down with your kids, evening comes or late afternoon or it's a cloudy day, where do they take their kids? They can't take them to the boardwalk all the time. It's way too expensive. Miniatures golf is something that all ages love. And if he's willing to put something in, of course, lease the property, we won't just hand it over to him. No offense. Oh, it'd be nice, but you can have that, put in the garden that Marty had talked about, put some benches there. Right across the street, they could get drinks, food, walk to the bakery. It would be something to draw families together. And I really think you should consider it. If you want to draw up plans, I'm sure he could. He'll yell at me tomorrow. But I really think that would be like the best thing you could put on that piece of property, because we don't have anything. That's why when the bakery has anything, it's packed with families, always, whether it's the carriage or a display of this or that. Let's bring something that's good for families into this town. And we have somebody willing to do it and run it, and he runs a great place. So please think about it, maybe get in touch with him, talk to him, and figure this out, because I think that's what our town needs right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you, Shirley.
Peggy Aaron, 21 I Street. Shirley sort of stole my thunder because I was going to hope and suggest that you take that into consideration putting in a miniature golf course there. Other than the great job that Joe Toth does with the recreation, there's nothing in town for these kids. And there's nothing in town for the teenagers. There's really nothing except to go up to the boardwalk, and as Shirley said, it's very expensive. It would be something for families to do, which we don't have. So I urge you to sincerely consider the idea of a miniature golf course in that lot.
Thank you, Faye. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'd
Can I make
entertain.
one comment? Because you brought up flagpole, it made me think of it. The beautification committee donated the flagpole that they couldn't get on Central Avenue because of DOT. It is now installed at 14th Avenue Pier. It looks lovely, and thank you to the committee. It's a really nice addition to the 14th Avenue parking lot.
Yes.
3811. We're hoping to plan some kind of ceremony for the flagpole, possibly on June 14th. So the committee will be in touch with Karen and whoever else would be involved.
Yes.
But we also have to thank Eric because he was very instrumental in helping. And I think we've been at this for 4 years, so it's nice to see it. If you haven't, take a drive by.
Maggie texted me on that, so I, so, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Thanks, Eve. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank everyone for coming out this evening. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion. Motion by Council President Wilk, second by Councilmember Amabile. Roll call.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Councilmember Amabile?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank everyone for coming.